Yeah, because I'd done the survey to my list.
Yeah.
It's number one. And then I talked about, okay, hip flexibility, eh? So what are the kinds of things that you guys want to be able to do if you got looser hips? Because I actually engaged with them and then wrote blog posts related to that, answered the questions. Once I launched the program, which was like a month and a half later, everybody, like all the people who answered and participated were like, okay, I'm going to buy it.
You hear all the bull about marketing every day. Make your money in your sleep. My new offer is crushing it. My guru could beat up your guru. It's time to go right to the source and get the truth about marketing. With your host, the founder of copychief.com, Kevin Rogers.
Hey, welcome back to The Truth About Marketing. It's another hot episode. Kevin Rogers here. This is the show where instead of wondering how people do so well with their businesses online, you get to hear from them directly about what works, what doesn't work, and what surprised them the most when it did work. So my guest today is a guy that I've been a fan of for a while, and we consider him a friend. My man, Eric Wong, is a martial artist. He's a fitness expert, and he is a very innovative and forward-thinking marketer. I've featured Eric's sales pages in other breakdowns you may have seen, and he's always really generous and sharing what he's doing in a highly competitive market. So I appreciate that, and happy to welcome him today. His main site is powerdojo.com. If you want to go check out Eric, powerdojo.com. And then we're going to dig in a little more deeper to a couple of more recent pages. And so let's learn all about Eric Wong. What's up, Eric?
Yo, what's up, man? Thank you for the very, very nice intro.
Thanks for always being so generous, man. Like, it's really cool of you. I think we met at a mastermind, right?
Yep.
A couple years back, and I was so impressed with you do a lot of testing, huh?
Yeah, I like to test stuff out, just kind of optimize, split tests, all that. Yeah, just random things, or just follow like other people, what they're doing, just try it out.
Right. Yeah, I used to be fascinated and a little bit even perplexed at how so many of the fitness marketers did so well. Like, very often become highly capable copywriters, some even master copywriters like John Benson.
Yeah.
And, other guys like Joe Marion, who's, and all these people, Vince Del Monte. And then I figured it out after going to some of the masterminds and working with guys like you.
The steroids.
It's the drugs. They're cheating. Yeah, you know what it is? It's this. It just takes the same level of dedication and investment in learning and practice and implementation as it does to become, super fit or super skilled at any kind of like physical endeavor. You guys just apply the same mindset, and of course things kind of work out for you.
Yeah, I was gonna, like, as you were saying that, I was thinking the same thing. And it's all about, to me, the way that I like to think about things is just on principles. Because once you understand, like, a true principle is applicable across all domains. All domains where you want to achieve results, you want to be successful, you're into, you have goals.
Right.
It's all the same fundamental principles. So one of those is, to me, I like to call, my word for it is evolution. So it's a constant evolution. So what do you do next? Okay, you get somewhere. Okay, now you're there. Hang out. It's nice. What's next?
Yeah, I like that a lot. Because it gets boring, right? To do the same thing over and over. So
yeah, and there's certain areas where it doesn't. You're not always evolved. Like driving. Like, I'm not trying to evolve my driving. Like, I can get there in 15 minutes and 24 seconds. Let's make it 22.
Right.
Chill out. But there's my business. There's my health. There's my relationships. Like, a few key areas.
Yeah, good point. And so, is that how it happened for you? Like, what was the first time you decided, oh, I could do one of these offers, and I could create a product where I could teach people?
Okay, yeah. Let me think here. So this was a while ago, and I don't want to make it up because there's certain parts of my backstory that I've used as marketing, and then the more I talk about it, the more it becomes the absolute truth.
Right.
But let's see. I think it was back in. I'd always had this kind of desire to. Like when I saw guys on stage, when I go to conferences in 2005, 2006, fitness conferences, fresh out of university, see these guys talking, delivering talks, and like teaching concepts and like teaching trainers how to do things. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. Like I want to be able to teach people. Like that energy, him like me learning something new that I'd never heard of, and him being the one that's creating it. Like I wanted to be the one creating stuff.
Interesting.
So that was, different than personal training where you're working with somebody, you're coaching them. It's just a different thing.
Right. And so is that what you were doing before you got into marketing? Personal sort of one-on-one training?
Yeah, exactly. So I started off, walked into the gym, and this is how hard, for anybody who doesn't know, this is how hard it is to get a job at a gym. I walked in, summer, so I'm wearing like a polo shirt or something. That's my interview gear. The guy's like, hey man, my name's what was I? Mark. My name's Mark. What's your name? I'm like, I'm Eric. I'm here for the interview for the trainer job. And he looks at me, he's like, grabs my bicep, he's like, you're pretty fit. When do you want to start?
Wow.
So for anybody who had any misconceptions about, what it takes to be at some places, not every place is like this, but yeah.
So there's like no certification, no those things, or was it a given that you already had that?
Well, even if you didn't have it, you could just go to like a weekend course and you're good to go.
Wow. That's pretty scary, right? Because, there's so many ways to get injured. I think people don't consider that when they go, I'm just going to get in shape, and the harder I push myself, the better I'm going to be. And, in CrossFit and all these things now, people are just, if they're not guided correctly, man, people can get really hurt.
Yeah. And that's why my business is thriving right now, because my programs help fix the problems that result from people doing, just injuring themselves, not because of a lack of, effort, because they just don't know.
Yeah, I see. You're probably way more in tune with CrossFit than I am, and I've never been to a CrossFit class, but I've seen they had like the CrossFit Games.
Yep.
And they're doing like 3-4 foot box jumps, and like how many can you do in a minute? I'm like, I don't think that's how you do boxing. Like you see, there's always the guys walking around with the big scars on their shins, and they.
Oh yeah.
You're guaranteed to get like the giant ripped off skin flap if you're trying to. If your personal record is how many box jumps can you do in a minute, you're guaranteed to cut some skin open.
Yeah, something bad is going to happen at some point in your career.
And so that's another thing I admire about your. So I know you work with a lot of MMA fighters, which that's a really interesting niche and mindset to me. So maybe we'll touch on that. But I love what you've been doing, at least in the last couple of years, where you focus on a very specific problem. And that might seem obvious, but it wasn't. Not. I've seen a lot of other people in fitness marketing do this since you did it, but you were the first guy I saw focusing on a very specific problem, like a hip flexor, shoulder pain. Was that a kind of a breakthrough for you, or where did that come from? Yeah,
so that was just a result of many of my customers telling me, what they're experiencing. Whenever, especially customers, whenever I get a new customer, they buy a program, there's always going to be follow-up where I'm asking them things. Like I'm asking them, how's it going? How are your results? Have you downloaded the program? Are you able to access everything okay? Coaching through, do you have any questions? Here's like facts that you can refer to, shit like that. So get a lot of feedback over the years. And a lot of the guys are saying, yeah, the program's awesome, but I'm not doing it right now because I hurt my back, or hips are tight and I can't throw kicks anymore. So I just listened and did some surveys and was like, okay, this is the number one problem. Let's just try putting out a program for that specific problem. And that worked extremely well, because not only was it, okay, I got great feedback in terms of I know exactly what program would be potentially, if the conversion rate was the same for any program that I picked, just because there's more people who have this problem, it's the number one problem, I'm going to make more sales just based on math.
Right.
So obviously you would do that. So I created that program, and what was awesome, and here's your answer to the surprising thing, because I did. Oh, sorry for anybody who doesn't know. I was prepped before this. I didn't have it.
You see, they've seen behind the curtain now. This is not going to be exciting.
Yeah, because I'd done the survey to my list.
Yeah,
it's number one, and then I talked about, hip flexibility. So what are the kinds of things that you guys want to be able to do if you got looser hips? Because I actually engaged with them and then wrote blog posts related to that, answered the questions. Once I launched the program, which was like a month and a half later, everybody, like all the people who answered and participated, were like, okay, I'm going to buy it. And then it was my most successful promo up until that point. So that was 2013, and I started, I would say, January 2009 is when I started.
Wow, interesting. Cool. So 4 years, to figure out, get specific. And you said the key thing there, man, which was, conversation, dialogue, right? I mean, so many people get this wrong. I'll say, well, you have a dialogue with your, especially like you said, your buyers or the people who are in the most pain and have yet to become buyers, which is, we'll get into that because I know you're using parts of the ask method. And what's great about that is you can get feedback before the problem's been solved, right? And so you were hearing from buyers who had a problem of, well, I'm injured, and a good marketer listens to that. It doesn't just make the assumption that there's a product there. You follow up, right? And then you start finding out, is this something a lot of people are dealing with? And create more content based on that. And then you're getting replies. So then you can start to see, wow, the needle just keeps going up and up and up on this the more I write about it. And then it becomes, and then you said, do a survey and validate that this is actually a need. And then it's sort of money in the bank from that point, right? I mean,
yeah, totally.
And then also, did you use a lot of what people were telling you specifically, kind of using their words back at them to describe the problem?
Oh, for sure. I would be retarded not to.
And were you writing your own copy then?
Yeah, I write my own copy.
You're always writing your own copy. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah. And speaking of, because you mentioned his name earlier, John Benson, the copy for that page, which is the hipflexibilitysolution.com, is I wrote that copy based on his 3x VSL structure.
Yeah.
But it's not a VSL, obviously. It's a written sales page. But I followed his psychology, his program, his system, wrote the copy based on that, incorporating the feedback and the exact words from the surveys and whatnot. And it's still working today. So that's, 3 years later, almost 3 years later.
Awesome. Love it. And I remember because it didn't only work for your list where people were telling you directly this was a problem they needed to solve. Other guys were promoting it and doing really well with it.
Yeah, exactly. So I launched it. And actually this one, what did I do? Yeah, I launched this one as a big launch with affiliates right off the bat.
Or you did?
I didn't do an internal launch with that because I was so confident. I was like, okay, this is going to work. Here's the prize money. I gave away like $12K in prize money back.
Wow.
For that one, or around there, somewhere around there.
That's pretty brave. Was anybody skeptical or like, dude, we're just talking about hip flexor here? Like, is this, are you covering enough for people to care? Or
once
Cool.
I explained that, all it took was, because they're all dudes, they're all fitness dudes, right?
Right.
So I was just like, hey man, do you got tight hips? Yeah, well, so all the guys on your list. So I
Yeah,
got
yeah.
this program coming up, and you might want to jump on it. Here's the prize money. Let's do this.
That's great. Love
Yeah,
it.
it's pretty simple.
Yeah, very cool. It can be simple if you let it. That's awesome. Cool, man. All right, so let's talk a little bit about this idea of surveying and quizzes. I know you're now going through Ryan Levesque's Ask masterclass and sort of doing the I don't want to say the official funnel building of it. But another thing I admire about you, Eric, is that if you see something working, you jump on it. And so, tell me about how you first came to create a quiz for one of your I think it was your shoulder pain product, right?
Yeah. So So I did the follow up to the hip flexibility solution, which was called the shoulder flexibility solution, and that took the crown for my best promo away. But so yeah, I did the quiz for that. So I launched that, and then I wanted
Did you do the shoulder one first as an affiliate launch with a more traditional sales page to begin
No,
with? No.
no.
Okay.
So I did that one with sales page. Actually, I did it as an internal launch
Okay.
first, and then I did the affiliate launch after, and then I started the quiz.
Interesting. All right, and you'd mentioned to me before why you did the quiz. I'd love to tell the audience about that.
Yeah, so I'd always been studying this stuff like split test results and what's working, and squeeze pages. My buddy Matt Gallant, he's a crazy marketer. When you want to talk about split testing, talk to him, because this guy, I think he's had an email list of over 1 million in the guitar market.
Wow.
Which is and this was back in like 5 years ago.
What's his name again?
Matt Gallant.
Gallant. Oh yeah.
He's a buddy of mine.
Okay.
I can introduce you guys.
Yeah.
So he was telling me about these squeeze pages that were working really well, which is you just ask them a few questions on the front end before you ask for their name and email, and they're just very simple questions, and they didn't even do anything with the data. It was just there. You'd end up in the same funnel and you get the same emails and whatnot. So you just ask a few questions, and it always converted higher than just a straight up lead magnet opt-in page or the traditional stuff. So I was like, okay, if that's working, why don't I use that, but actually use it to add some value, so that if there's a particular person and I can identify a specific problem for them through the questions, then I'll give them specific content to actually help them. You can use this exercise for your specific problem.
Mm-hmm.
Or this is what you got to do for your issue. And so I integrated that with this, I just searched through the WordPress plugins, found one, like a quiz plugin. I think it's used to test, grade school or something. And then just put it together and started running Facebook ads to it. And it blew my mind. It was converting so well. Like when I first started running that, about a year ago, it was like a 200% ROI. Wow. Within 1 day, not even including automation.
Wow, crazy. And so, what were the questions? Do you mind me asking? It was like 2 or 3.
Yeah, there were only 2 questions then, and it was still 2 fitness related questions where it's an actual assessment that I would do to a client. Mm-hmm. If they're presented with, they're like, oh, my shoulders hurt, they're sore all the time or something, I would be like, okay, let's try this. Touch your hands behind your back and posture. What's your posture look like? And that was it.
Wow. So that's what you presented on those are the 2 questions.
Yep.
Where does it hurt? Exactly. How did you phrase the questions?
Oh, how did I phrase it? Okay. So it was actually the same questions that I'm using now.
Wow.
Except now I'm also asking for age, and I'm asking for what their goal is.
Right, gotcha.
Why did they want it? What are they going to start doing once they fix your issue?
So if anybody wants to see this page, it's they can go to shoulderflexibilitysolution.com/copychief and see the page there. And that'll be good for you because then we won't screw up your stats.
Yeah.
Send on a bunch of marketers there who may not have a shoulder problem and just want to see your quiz.
Yeah, they're going to go through like 10 times, 10 different email addresses.
Record it, talk over it. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Okay, cool. And so I love that. And you mentioned to me before that, you saw other people, aside of Matt, like using kind of fake quizzes, right?
Yeah. So it was just like, it could be like lead pages. They had a template where it was just like, you couldn't do anything with the data. It was just a couple of questions, one question or 2 questions, and then you get to the opt-in and nothing changes beyond that.
And so you thought, okay, what if I can actually use this? Again, you're thinking in dialogue, right? I can make this into a little coaching session, and based on how they answer the questions, I can give them some custom advice and actually show some value, give them some help immediately. Yeah,
because there's a million exercises you could do. So if you have problem A, you would use one exercise, or a bunch of these exercises, and problem B, use a bunch of different exercises. Like it's completely different. That's great,
because that would be counterintuitive to a lot of people. They think, well, if you help their shoulder pain go away, why would they want your Fix My Shoulder Flexibility product? What would you say to that?
Yeah, so I give them one exercise, but to actually address a problem, like the body is holistic. There's numerous reasons why where you have this issue. So it's like you have this one issue which causes this other issue, so there's layers. So this is one exercise. It's going to address, this layer. You've got to cover this to fully do this thing, which I figured out with your man Nate, which we use the term CNS reprogramming. To reprogram your CNS, we need to do a bunch of different things, not just one exercise. And here's the program. So if this exercise actually helped and you feel better, then you're going to get these results by following the program.
Right, exactly. And so this is, again, interesting because it was instinctual for you, and because you hadn't read, I don't think Levesque's book or anything had come out by then, right? Matt maybe was using some of that, but a lot of this was you just going on instinct. And what I love about it is it aligns with how Ryan's stuff evolved, which is like actually wanting to help people.
What a novel concept.
Yeah, I know.
What a novel concept.
Right. It's just in marketing, unfortunately, it is rare, but if you want to stand out as a product creator, as a marketer, just like really be thinking more about how can I help somebody in any circumstance than how do I get them to pull their wallet out. And B will follow A.
Yeah, man. And I got to say, what you're doing with copychief, because I got into the Ask Masterclass on your recommendation, like you were talking about. We had that call where you forgot to record it.
Yeah, that was a bummer. It was such a good call.
But and then I see how you've been just trying to help people use that to its fullest, and even go beyond which is already a comprehensive training.
Right.
Even go beyond that and add your own, because you're a killer copywriter. That's why you're the chief, man.
Thanks, man. Yeah. Well, it's exciting to be inspired by a system like this. It just doesn't happen that often. You're a guy who's out there looking all the time, and you're, investing in masterminds to be around people who in your industry who are on the front lines doing everything they can to improve conversions. Yeah, it's pretty rare that something comes along that surprises any of us.
Yeah, this has been just the potential I see. As I do it, I see more potential gets uncovered as I continue to work it and observe it and analyze the stats and all that stuff.
Yeah, very cool. And like I said, man, I think the last thing I'll say about it, because I've been going on and on for about a month about it, but the thing I really love is that the only people I see really sticking with it are people who honestly care about helping, their customers. I think it's with just like it did with you. It starts with that foundation, and that's what it's built to do. Really provide value along with getting the sale. So, very cool. So, all right. So, Eric, you hinted at it, and it looks like you had your aha moment on the during the call, and hopefully I didn't spoil it by asking too many questions. But let's get right to the essential question of the show. Eric Wong, what is the one thing you've done in your marketing that produced the most surprising results?
Yeah, so it was just that, man. Like, just looking into the survey, into the feedback, going into the inbox, reading the feedback, and then for my customers, because the customers are number one. They're already paying me money, so I want to hear what they got to say. And then putting out the survey to the big list and just going off the data and then launching that. It was the first time I'd ever actually gone off the data. I'd always just come up with the idea on my own in isolation, like, not engaging with people. And the results just blew me away. Like, it was my first, it was an affiliate promo, but it was my first 6-figure launch that I'd done. So that was huge.
Yeah, that's great. No, so like comparatively, what were the launches previous to that?
Let's see. My biggest one previous to that was a couple years, 3 years before that. I did like 35K.
On the launch.
Had a few affiliates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Compared to it in a 6-figure launch. Wow. That's, like you said, still selling today, 2 years later. So awesome, dude. And you're at a boxing gym right now, so I love that. That's very authentic. You just like less than a half hour ago you were grappling with somebody.
Sparring. Yeah,
sparring. Yeah, nice. So, man, I appreciate you doing this. Great intel as always, and thanks for being so generous and sharing like all the innovative stuff you're doing, man. And so I want to remind everybody they can find you. They can see this specific page we talked about with the first quiz you built, and definitely something you want to bookmark and follow. It's my page has changed on me. Sorry. It's a shoulderflexibilitysolution.com/copychief, and you can find Eric at his main page. You can also see Hip Flexibility Solution. That's the one based on the John Benson model, the 3X formula. And what's the other page? PowerDojo.com.
Yeah, that's my blog. And I'd like to throw in there, everybody here, everybody's listening with the marketing mind on, but, everybody is getting older. That's the only thing that's happening. We're not getting younger. So a lot of the exercises I share are just to feel better. Like, you're not going to scrape your shins off. You're not going to win a gold medal, but you're going to feel better every day, looser, less pain, more mobile. And so I would suggest just look at the marketing stuff, and also try some of the exercises.
Absolutely.
Do them at home. You don't need any equipment, and you'll feel better. That's it.
Yeah, I love that. And, for me and a lot of people in marketing, we travel a lot, so even if you are in a routine, nothing will get you off your routine faster than going to spend a day on a plane and 3 nights in a hotel. And that's what I love about a lot of your stuff, man. The exercises are simple, they're body weight, and they're really effective.
Yeah. And you guys, marketers, I know, because I'm a marketer too, but you're sitting all the time.
Yes.
Sitting around, so got to counteract that.
Love it. All right, Eric Wong, PowerDojo.com. Thanks again for doing this, man. We'll talk soon.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin.
All right, buddy. Bye.
Hey, thanks again for listening to the Truth About Marketing podcast. If you like this show and you think other people would like this show, the best way to spread the word is by reviewing and rating the show in iTunes. Just log in, click review, leave a big old fat 5-star review, and let everybody know that you dig the show so that they can dig it too. To get all the links and resources we mentioned on today's episode, please go to copychief.com/TAM, as in Truth About Marketing. And if you'd like to Learn more about how you can improve your sales copy with templates, formulas, coaching, feedback, or hiring a pro. Do all that on the inside of the members area of copychief.com, and I will look for you there. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.